Alright, sorry that that first video got cut off, and I'm sorry that I was talking about my feet so much. I was just kind of doing that to illustrate just how your tripod stance can impact the rest of your kinetic chain. And like I said in the first video, you know, I imagine that you may have some imbalances going on as well. You know, you might even have some that you don't even know about. So, you know, that's why I kind of got carried away with my feet, and I apologize for that. Anyway, to wrap that video up, you know, making those 3 points of contact, you know, that's going to engage all the muscles in your foot, which is going to go up your kinetic chain. So, and since your feet are your foundation, like, it's always a good idea when you are exercising on your feet to try to establish that tripod stance. And you know, you say that you're working out at home, so I don't know how you feel about doing barefoot, or if you'd be able to do barefoot, but that would really be your best bet. I talked about the shoes in the first video, right, and the orthotics and stuff like that. Like, you know, when you do weight training type stuff, you know, the best thing is going to be to be barefoot or as close to it as possible. So like me, for example, you know, I'm barefoot at home, unless like it's cold outside and, you know, my feet are going to get cold. Besides that, I mean, I really try to do everything barefoot. You know, I go on walks and runs, and I wear walking or running shoes, but I don't wear those kind of shoes. Like, I don't wear these kind of shoes for weight training and stuff, and, you know, other exercise really, other than just, you know, walking and running. Stuff where I'm really having to apply pressure through my feet. I actually, for the last 5 or 6 years, I've been wearing an indoor soccer cleat with just a flat sole, and that's worked great for me. I've been able to what's it called, engage all the muscles in my feet when I lift and stuff. So, you know, the shoes can really play a role as well. So just something to think about. So I'm also going to talk to you about something called pelvic tilt in this video, and pelvic tilt is just like what it's, you know, just what it sounds like. It's your pelvis, which is the girdle, the bone girdle that is basically your hips, and it has the hip sockets where your femur, which is your thigh bone, goes up and attaches into it. So your pelvis can tilt. So here's the top of my pelvis. So it can tilt anterior to the front. It can tilt posterior to the back, almost like you're leaning back. And it can be neutral. And in a perfect world, neutral is what everyone should be. Neutral is going to be your best bet. However, you know, nobody's perfect, and most people are on the anterior side, which is the worst the worst predicament to be in terms of pelvic tilt. So, and I imagine, you know, because you probably sit a lot at work, you know, I imagine that you have a degree of anterior pelvic tilt as well. And I don't know what kind of like training regimens they did for you with soccer, but I doubt they were doing a lot of posterior chain exercises to target your glutes and your hamstrings to balance out all the running that y'all were doing. I highly doubt that. I would love to hear more about that, if you have any you know, recollections or insights or whatever. But anyway, so like I said, I'm going to guess that, you know, you're somewhere on the anterior side, which, like I said, that's where most people are at. So it's something that can be fixed, and all it is just, I mean, it's really just as simple as bringing this forward so that everything up here can go back. Because you see, when I have an anterior tilt, look at what my upper body's doing. My butt's poking out back, my upper body's falling forward. But when I have a posterior tilt, you know, now my body's going even back a little bit. And if I have strong enough hips, you know, I can if I have strong enough hips, I can, you know, go back pretty far without any kind of danger. That was just a really nice stretch on the front of my leg. So, you'll notice that you're gonna feel muscles probably that you haven't really felt. When I first really started training the anterior pelvic tilt, there were times where it almost felt like there was stuff just like ripping apart back here, because like my pelvis was just so used to being back here. It's something that you can do, and this is also true about the tripod stance. This is also true about the intra-abdominal pressure. This is all stuff you can do throughout your day. When you're sitting at your desk, when you're sitting on the couch, when you're lying in bed, you know, sitting at the computer, whatever, you know, just standing around, you can stand up and do, you know, this is all stuff that, it's almost kind of like stuff that's kind of like a prerequisite, or at least it should be, before you move on to other stuff. Like, I mean, if back when I had started weight training, future me was telling me this about, you know, these little itty bitty muscles that I can barely feel engaging and stuff, you know, I would have thought that future me is crazy. But like, you know, looking back, like, I could have probably achieved so much more if I had, you know, made this kind of stuff more of a foundation of the way that I trained, instead of just trying to do, like, you know, heavier and heavier weights and stuff, which is what a lot of people do as well. And you know, that's how I kind of developed an anterior tilt, was, you know, through doing heavy weights that my big muscles could support and that I could use momentum to lift, you know, but my little surrounding muscles, you know, they couldn't, you know, keep my skeleton like super aligned and stuff. And so I developed imbalances over time. You know, even before the injury, I had some imbalances going on. So yeah, it's all stuff you can do throughout the day. With the posterior pelvic tilt, whenever you are doing abs exercises, like on the ground, I kind of already showed you in the other video with the 90-90 drill, but oops, lower back should be on the ground. So right now I'm in an anterior tilt. I'm in a very exaggerated one, but some people, you know, when they like get their legs out to do like ab exercises or something, you know, that tilt will become really noticeable for some people, and then they'll wonder why, like, you know, their back hurts when they do ab exercises, or the neck hurts when they do ab exercises and stuff. So this is a anterior, posterior. So now even I can feel like even the end of my tailbone is up off the ground, okay? And I can feel more engagement, and I can feel a dog's presence, but I can feel more engagement automatically when I do that, all down the back sides of my leg, my glutes and my hamstrings. I can feel more contact with the floor, which, as you know, is something we should already be doing with the tripod stance. we should be, you know, contacting the floor with intent and really trying to push through it and establish our foundation with that tripod stance. And so a posterior pelvic tilt helps make that easier, and it's so much more safer when you're on your back training your abs, because then you can't, you know, you can't hurt your lower back as long as you work in the range of motion that you can manage. So what I mean by that, and I'm gonna say this over and over again when I do abs videos for you, but what I mean by that is so like, let me see. So like if I'm doing like a leg raise, so I'm on my back, actually, well, okay, I'll do it like this, you can see better. So I'm on my back, and I'm gonna bring my legs down as far as I can before I lose the pelvic tilt. So I'm just gonna go as far as I can before I feel my back starting to rise up. So a lot of people, when they train the abs, you know, they'll get in a position like this here, and they'll go all the way down, and I don't know if you can see or not, but they'll have this, and then they'll and come back up. And so really what they're doing is they're using their hips to get their legs up, not their abs or core muscles, okay? Because they have lost that posterior pelvic tilt, they have lost that engagement down the rest of the kinetic chain, all right? So you're gonna put that posterior pelvic tilt, and I'm gonna raise my legs up, okay? And let's say I can only go this far, and I feel it start raising up. I would rather you just go that far, whoop, bring it back, whoop, bring it back. Work with your range of motion rather than putting your lower back at risk by, you know, doing this because you're trying to get your legs all the way down.